Sorry for all the weird recording times and all of that and being gone for a while. I got hit with the flu and then directly after hit with a stomach bug. 40 degrees centigrade heat wave and a forest fire in the surrounding area for the last week. So it's been quite exciting, which does not lead to recording. Anyways, things seem to have calmed down, so on to recording. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's edition of Tales from Outer Space, where I take stories from across the internet and read them for your entertainment. This particular story is called Why Do Paradise Worlds Have Toxic Waste Disposal Sites? Written by Farmwhich4275. Everything's still intact, Ensign. I was being cautious. We needed to be. Not just because of FTL, but also our rather dangerous cargo. She looked at me with one eye stalk. All systems are fully operational, Captain. No change to cargo. Good. Then everything is going to plan. If this does what I think it will do, this means lucrative hauling contracts for decades to come, I hope, I replied, and carefully read the ship manifest for the 12th time. What exactly are we hauling, Captain? She asked with concern. I'll tell you when we get there. It's not cargo that's the destination. If my intel is correct, then we should be fine, I replied. She tilted her eye stalks in my direction, a look that conveyed suspicion. This does not bode well. Everything is under control, Claxtel. Just relax and follow my lead, I replied with a side glance. She nervously shrugged and returned to her duties. I checked the cargo again, making sure all the tanks were still pressurized and sealed. They were good. Entering target system in 3, 2, 1, real space. My navigator's words seemed to belay the point of real space as we entered the star system, and were immediately surrounded by the Terran's absurdly well-armed warships. You did not tell me this was a Terran space. Are you insane? Ensign barked at me as she lifted herself out of her seat in a defensive posture. Shut up and sit down. If you're ever going to trust me now. I know what I'm doing. Open frequencies. I commanded and let my crew work. Seconds later, a viewing screen lowered from the ceiling and showed me a human warship captain in full battle dress. State your business, ship identity, and cause for presence, he barked. Menacing creatures. Vicious, menacing creatures. Thrax Thon Tar, orderly merchant of the Serenai Imperium. Ship ident is Class 5 Carousel Pattern Light Freighter. Serial 559 Code 2. I have an appointment with the local waste disposal unit. Sending details now, I said and typed something on my console. Hold, he said, and started working. I heard typing and conversation in the background and waited. Shipping manifest matches cargo scan. Crew count matches scan. All details match. Please explain for the record why you are 2 hours late, he asked. Considering my cargo, I had to make absolutely sure there were no mistakes, so I made some extra precautions and set me back a while. Sorry about that. But I figured of all people, you would appreciate being careful, I said with a smile. True, he said and typed something. Corsair-class destroyer is on your right flank to escort you to the station dock. Maintain 500 and 800-meter distance at all times. Do not deviate. Tug will tow you into dock. Follow hazard protocols as directed when secured. Understand? Solid copy, 5 to 800, tow to dock, follow instructions, crystal clear, I replied back, maintaining my smile. Clearance granted, gift shops open, beds made, doors unlocked. Welcome to Elysium, he said, returning my smile. Thank you. Navigator Claxon, follow that ship as directed and relinquish control when the tugs grab us. You have a nice day now. Same to you, he smiled, an expression conveying genuine warmth. Transferring navigation to directed frequencies, maintaining minimal connection. All crew prepared to disembark and manage cargo, Ensign ordered as she spoke into the ship's internal comms. The ship moved with an expertise I would expect from a veteran navigator I had to steal from the Navy fleet officer in a card game. He followed instructions with absolute perfection, as expected, and started working on shutting the ship's main engines down as soon as the tugs grabbed us. Before long, we were on the station dock. It was now I noticed something was off. Something's not right here, I said. Ensign jumped at the chance. And yet you doubted me. Oh, shut up, I barked, she recalled. Everything is exactly as I expected it to be and what I was after. I'm a bit confused about something, I said. And that would be? Claxon asked, curling a claw at me. Why do these humans have a thriving and what appears to be long-standing toxic waste processing plant on a paradise world? The crew all glared at me and checked their own readings. Indeed, the planet we were above was a world we would easily classify in the galaxy at large as a thriving paradise world, a place that every life form in the galaxy would love to live on. And there in the center of it all was a massive half-continent-sized factory that was saturated in sealed tanks and heavy industry, the kind that would make emperors flinch for understanding what was in there. "What are we here for?" Ensign asked. "Too late to say no now, so we're here to test something. The 4 forward tanks are filled with Gorgasden. The 2 rear tanks contain Scomparius-5. The cargo bays contain depleted fuel rods and other radioactive materials. We're here to pay the humans to dispose of it all for us," I said, making the crew recoil and slink into the shells in horror. Before they could object further, a human appeared once again on my screen and smiled, this one less evil-looking. "Well, howdy. Welcome to Elysian Waste Disposal. Have your cargo manifest here, ready to start work. You good to go?" he asked cheerfully. "When my crew have managed to retrieve their flabbergasts off the floor, yes. I've shown you some blueprints and access hatches, where everything is as best as I'm allowed to. Our systems are compatible?" I asked. He typed and looked about a bit, likely referencing material on separate screens. "Yeah, we got pipes and cargo with those specs easy. Got to bring them in, and we can start pumping. As for solid cargo, a proper hazmat team will be on docking port shortly. Need to borrow Hangar 4's forklift, though. Should take about 2 hours for full transfer. You cool with that?" "I am indeed cool with that. Are you sure you can handle this cargo? I assure you it is extremely difficult for us to process these materials safely. I can only imagine what it's like for you," I said. He chuckled audibly and visibly laughed at the concept. "No, sir, the stuff you have here is not even half as bad as some crap we used to deal with. Grogston is similar structure and chemical known as sarin. We know how to filter it out and separate the molecular structure and capture the stuff that makes it not that. Shouldn't be too hard to jerry-rig a few extra filters. As for the Scomparius-5, funny name, by the way, easily dealt with. That stuff's basically just LSD with a bit of petroleum motive to it. That's no issue at all. Neutralizing agents for that have existed for centuries," he said with a shrug. "That is very concerning. You have dealt with this for centuries?" the ensign asked. "Yep, centuries. Even used sarin for warfare once. Those were dark times, but we fixed it. As for the nuclear material, we'll be happy to take it off your hands. Depleted uranium and expended deuterium are excellent catalysts for making ammunition for heavy weaponry. That'll come in very handy, depending on quality. You might leave here with a little something from us. That's good stuff right there. Geiger's a bit high than normal, though. Need a bit more shielding for that," he said, typing on the screen. "Hey, Mel! Tell Hangar 4 to grab the big leaded pallets for the new cargo. Stuff still fresh," he yelled at someone off screen. "Got it, boss," I heard a voice yell back. The crew and I shared a concerned glance in turn with these revelations. The rumors about human insanity were very, very true. "I have a question," Claxton asked, bringing himself off his chair and in front of the screen next to me. "Go on, ask. I'm all ears." The human seemed strangely excited to answer questions. "Why do you have a gigantic toxic waste processing plant on a paradise world?" "Paradise world? No idea what you mean by that, but let me answer that question with another question. Wouldn't you like to preserve something beautiful in every way you can?" the human replied. "Well, obviously, but—" "Then there's your answer. Incentive. Nice planet. Toxic waste processing. There's a reason that you're here with us and not by yourself. Our industry is a lot more advanced than yours because of incentive. The incentive to keep the planet we live on clean and pretty, but also the incentive to maintain a planetary economy. Get what I'm saying here? The reason we are so good at what we do is because we have to be. Toxic chemicals leak, planet dies. Planet dies, homes, jobs, life dies with it. Not good, simple as," he replied, shrugging his shoulders. We all shared glances of confusion. "In what universe does that actually make any sense? Why not just have a dedicated world for garbage disposal?" "Because it would be a horrible place to live and work. Look, I don't know what your cultural practices are, but wandering around in a sealed bunker wearing full hazmat suits all day, every day, isn't exactly comfortable or acceptable. Not to us, at least. I consider this place home, and absolute last thing I want is to have toxic waste on my front door. But it still exists, and you still have to get rid of it to keep everything clean. So waste disposal facilities, recycling plants, chemical processing plants, atmospheric scrubbers. We dealt with this long before we got to the stars, dude. Our homeworld used to be a damn mess. Then we fixed it," he said. We tilted our heads and thought about it. "Well, that was simpler than I thought it would be. That made a lot more sense than I was expecting it to." "You weren't expecting our explanation to make sense?" "Well, I got a bit nervous and rubbed the back of my neck." He pointed at me with a scowl and said, "Cheeky." We nervously shuffled apologetically. "Sorry." "You don't have to be sorry. You just need to not be silly. In any case, retrieval team is ready to go. Open starboard cargo access so that we can get the forklifts in and start offloading," he asked. Understood. Opening cargo access port number 3. You said something about using this material for weaponry? Claxtel asked. Yep. We have use for everything. Nothing ever wasted, just like our ancestors used to use. Even if something has no purpose, we'll either create it a purpose or process it down to the point where it can be turned into something useful. Nothing ever wasted. That's the idea anyway, within reason, he replied, typing on his console. Claxton stepped forward. I have another question. Then ask it. You said that you have use for this material, toxic waste and such. How exactly do you use it? He asked. That's easy. Use various chemical processes and catalysts to neutralize the toxic part of the toxic waste, rendering it just plain waste. Then we use further processing to figure out what it actually can be used for, and a lot of toxic waste products, when cleaned up, can be used in a huge variety of other industries. Let's take Scoparius 5, for example. It's basically LSD with some extra molecules that resemble petroleum. Split that formula with some heat and a catalytic process, and boom, you have a synthetic petroleum product that we can use in the automotive industries or convert it to lubricant. As for the LSD, that's a good base for some medications and psychosis drugs we use. He just shrugged and carried on typing. These processes, are they dangerous? Yep. That's why we're big on safety. Pressurized tanks, high-density gases, closed systems, and thousands of pipes. No accidents reported for, he checked his notes, 17 years, 2 months, 12 days. Yes, we do count tripping over a bucket as an accident on site. That's how seriously we take the safety thing, he said with an accusatory glare. I wonder where Claxton was going with this. In which case, is there some way that we can acquire the schematics to access these chemical processes too? That's where he was going. Well, sort of. The process for a lot of waste disposal and catalytic conversion processes are public knowledge and readily available, but some bits relating to tech manufacturing are trade secrets. Gotta keep a competitive economy after all. Yeah, I'll send you the stuff we got in Scobari's stuff that you have, and you can learn how to fix that yourself. He pressed some buttons, and a second later, Ensign Claxtel was hastily reading pages and pages of blueprints and chemical formulae. That brings me to why I'm here exactly. I would like to see if it's possible to negotiate a contract of some kind for mass disposal. Our shipbuilding industry processes these 2 toxic chemicals by the shipload, and it will probably be a few years before we can make use of what you just sent us. Is there any way that we can hire you somehow to dispose of the chemical waste? I asked. Oh yeah, sure. In fact, you don't even need to pay us for it. Just dump your waste here and let us keep the resulting materials as payment. That'll be enough. Could always use more depleted uranium, frankly. Useful stuff. Just, please remember to make an appointment first. We only have so much storage space. That made me smile a lot more than I was supposed to. That sounds like a good deal to me. When can we start? Hold on one moment. Some of these chemical processes make no sense. Some will require a lot more work and effort compared to the end result. Yet you do so anyway. It would be a lot easier just to dump it and let it decay naturally. There are billions of planets that can easily be used for this reason. So why go through all this trouble? Ensign asked. 2 reasons, really. Morally and ecologically. 1, the dumping toxic waste on a planet is a very evil thing to do. I'm basically making my waste product someone else's problem millions of years into the future. And that's not just right, is it? Morally, I can't be tossing my garbage on someone else's front lawn, even if they haven't been born yet. It hurts the planet, too. Just because it's a barren, lifeless rock doesn't give me the right to make it any worse, does it? And the most important reason? Blue skies, clean water, green grass. I like my home. I like my home clean, even if it takes more than needed. The extra steps are worth a clean sky. Enough said, really, he replied with a shrug. That makes sense. I have to ask, how did you come up with the process? I mean, the chemical formulation is absurdly complex, Ensign asked. Oh, that's easy. We have this planet back home called Venus. Carbon dioxide atmosphere, toxic sulfur land, heavy metal storms and boiling lead oceans. We terraformed it, made it livable. We learned a lot about chemistry to do that. That was fun, he said with a smile. Why did you terraform a planet like that? I asked. To see if we could? I don't know. Never knew the reason. It was there and we could, I guess. No idea, he shrugged, and carried on typing. We shared glances, as if we all knew at once. There's the insanity I was looking for. Anyway, stuff's offloaded. If you care to wait around a bit, we'll assess the cargo and see if we need to pay you a bonus for the extra stuff. You cool with that? He asked. Yes, we are indeed cool with that. Let me get in contact with my supplier and patron back home before we negotiate a price first. I have to do this legally. This is, after all, some very bad stuff. But I have to comply with the regulatory statutes. Can't be selling expended nuclear material to just anyone, after all, I replied. That's understandable. Soon as the cargo is fully secured and the tanks are empty, I'll open the doors and let you into the lift down to the surface. I'll make sure that you have a place to stay for a week while we do the paperwork. See you soon. End of story. I'd greatly like to thank our Tier 5 channel members, Casper Arnholt, John Creighton, Manatharia, 050, Dragzoon WRE, and Elijah Silvercross. Thank you very much.